Hello, everyone. Come into the room. We are live. Go tag your friend. I'm going to give us a few minutes to come into the room. And when you get here, let me see you in the chat. Super excited. Happy 2025. Or shall I just say, wow, to 2025. Come into the room. Hello. All right. Hey, Melita. Yes. Send me a hello to know that you all are here. Know that you all are joining. And I'm trying out something new. I'm actually trying to stream on different platforms. So if anyone is connected to our YouTube and Facebook, the Smile Facebook, go see if I'm streaming for me. I'm going to check it afterwards. Hello, Stephen. Hello. We'll give people a few minutes to join. I know people are just getting their notification that the live has started. And so I want to make sure that we can get them in the room before we get started. And so I hope everyone is doing well. Happy Friday. Praise the Lord. It is Friday. I hope everyone has something planned to just improve your mental health this weekend. So definitely let me see you in the chat, in the comments. Let me see you in the comments. Hello. So we definitely have a lot to discuss today. And I just really wanted to hold this space for us, right, for community, because we have so much going on that we are managing, right? Whether you are East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, right? We are managing a lot. Definitely with the latest, the LA fires. And it's just so traumatic. And even though if you don't live over there, you may not be directly connected, but we are all affected. And it's a lot. It's a lot to process, right? It's a lot to process. So I just wanted to hold this space for us. And then just talk about the importance of holding spaces, of really holding safe spaces, especially in times of whether it's tragedies, disasters, all of the things that really cause the community trauma. And this was definitely one of them, right? The fires in LA is so traumatic. And we want to be a support for all those that are impacted. And so definitely want to make sure that we are doing our job in supporting our families, right? Whether it's directly or indirectly in the LA community. So after this, I'll definitely be dropping some links in the comment section just on other ways you can support, whether it's through donations, whether it's through, connecting with the organization out there. Just try to support in any way that you can, and also just lifting them up in prayer, right? For those believers, lifting them up in prayer. And so we are going to get started. If you are just joining us, please let me see you in the comments, so I can give you a shout out and know that you are here. Know that you are here with us. Yes, and we do need this. And, I wanted to just do something for us because it's a lot going on. We're trying to manage everything, but I wanted to give us something. So even if you are not able to join live, this will be posted so you can watch the replay. I know some people have already reached out to me about wanting to watch the replay because they're not available. So you can definitely come back and watch the replay, and also send this to some people who you know may need it, so they can watch the replay. And so I'll just start with introductions. Hello, everyone. Definitely thank you for joining on this Friday afternoon for some, maybe early afternoon and late morning for others. I am Christy Venable, CEO of Smile Therapy Services, and we are a mental health and wellness consulting firm. And so really our goal, our mission is to improve workplace cultures by way of preventative mental health and wellness solutions, right? To make workplace cultures more psychologically safe through a number of offerings. So we do wellness workshops, therapeutic safe space sessions, much similar to this one. We also do leadership development training, conflict resolution, mediation services, and we just started doing wellness retreats. So we really do all the offerings where we can make the most impact inside of the workplace culture. And so that is Smile. We have really been fortunate to be able to support a lot of people, right? But also a lot of companies and organizations so that they can make sure that their space is safe for their employees so they can be more productive inside of the workplace. And so how I'm going to kick us off, I'm going to go over a short presentation. Please feel free to really give me your comments inside of the comments. I'll definitely be, highlighting them. But I wanted to give us some psychoeducation first. And then I want us to be able to, just kind of whatever comes up for you, anything you want to share or any questions that you have, please feel free to put those in the comments so that I can address those. Okay, so that I can address those. And so I'll get started with our presentation, and let me change this layout a bit. Just start from the beginning. Okay. Let me know in the comments to make sure you can see my presentation. Let me know if that is showing for you all. Just give me a quick yes. Yes, I see it. So we can get started. We definitely want to just talk about how natural disasters really impact our mental health, right? And how it's very traumatic for us. And so I wanted to have this safe space where I can provide psychoeducation, but then I can also provide support to you. And so definitely feel free to perfect. Thank you, Angela. Definitely feel free to put any comments in the chat. I will say that I'm not sure if you all are joining from like our YouTube or Facebook. If you put your comments in the chat, if I'll be able to see them, but I'll definitely go back afterwards just in case I cannot, to make sure that I answer any questions that you may have. So we'll get started. So like I said, it's a safe space conversation. And so what we really want you all to understand, or what I want you all to understand, is that natural disasters are not only physical threats, but they're mental health crises, right? And then understanding the emotional toll, especially for recovery, is so crucial. And so we're going to get into it. So what are some of the psychological impacts of natural disasters? So what I did was I really wanted you guys to see some of the immediate impacts and then some of the long-term impacts, right? So we have a few things here. And then you can just let me know what resonates. So shock and disbelief. When we go through something, especially a natural disaster that it literally just changes our world, right? It knocks us upside down. The first step, or the first thing, we're really in shock. And I was just having a conversation earlier with a colleague, and I was telling her, she was like, I know you're going to be supporting. And I said, I am. I said, but the issue is that people are in such shock right now with everything that is going on that they are not even have the capacity to process what is actually happening to them. And so that's really the first step, that shock factor. And then you have acute stress. So, acute meaning kind of that short term stress. And so, a lot of people may have already started experiencing this that have been in the LA fires. But if you've ever been in any type of really traumatic incident, you would have had that acute stress, whether it's the difficulty breathing, intense fear, panic attacks, all of those things are reactions for that acute stress. And then sometimes you have survivor's guilt. So depending on, if maybe you were kind of involved, however, you didn't get the worst outcome. And so some people, and I can imagine that some people right now that are in the LA area whose house were not burned down, but they may have been, very close, they may be having survivor's guilt, right? And so, or if they know someone that passed away, we have that survivor's guilt sometimes, like, wow, how did I survive and they didn't? Or why did I survive and they didn't? And so we have to make sure that we are very cognizant of that. But then you have some of your long-term psychological impacts, right? You have that PTSD that can definitely come, and that can be characterized by recurring intrusive thoughts, nightmares, and avoidance behavior. So that's like you really avoiding things that remind you of the trauma. And we're going to talk about kind of how to manage some of these things later. And then you have some chronic anxiety disorders, right? And so I just named some, but generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and all those are triggered by the actual event that you were in. And then we have something that's called complicated grief. So I think most of us already know about grief, right? When we lose someone, something, and it's not, so I want to pin something. Grief not only is not only for loss of a person, right? It can be loss of a thing, loss or change, a transition, right? We can grieve a situation that we were in. Maybe, we used to have this relationship and now we don't have it anymore. And so I'm grieving this relationship. But complicated grief, it's more intense than grief, and it stays longer, right? And it actually interferes with our daily functioning. And so some of the long-term effects is where you really have to pay attention, because that's when you need to make sure you're seeking out for help. But we'll talk about that a little later. And so here's just some, of course, common emotional responses. Fear, immediately, right? And it's a natural response to danger when we're in danger. And then fear can manifest in like avoidance. So like you start to avoid things, being very hyper vigilant of what's going on, where you are, who is this? In layman's terms, they may say, your head's on a swivel, right? Always paying attention to your surroundings. That's hypervigilance. And then you may have a lot of difficulty concentrating when you are fearful of things, right? When your fear is at its highest level. And so really us making sure we're understanding that anxiety, of course, not knowing kind of what's going to happen. And so now you have this intense kind of anxiety that you're dealing with. You may have trouble sleeping, resting, all of those things. And then grief, of course, like we just said, you've lost something. And it can trigger that sadness, anger, and guilt all at the same time. All those things are different symptoms of grief. So then we talk about, why does self-care matter, especially during crises, right? And then let me know, guys. I'm watching the comments if you have any questions at all about what we are going through. And I just want to make sure I don't see anyone else over here. So self-care, why does that matter? One, it matters in general, right? But it particularly matters when we're dealing with a crisis. because we're probably so off center, we're emotionally unstable. And so we really have to make sure we are being intentional about different things that we're doing. And so I just list a couple things here, the physical recovery, mental clarity, emotional stability, support system. We have to make sure that we understand that how trauma impacts us, right? So it impacts us mentally, but it takes a physical toll on our body. And so we have to make sure that, we are trying to rest, right? And I know right now a lot of people are displaced. So what does that look like for them? Making sure that we actually eat. Sometimes when you're very depressed and so many things are going on, you actually don't even have an appetite, right? You forget to eat. However, we have to make sure that we're keeping ourselves nourished so that we can actually just be a help to our own selves. And then some mental clarity. Sometimes even during crisis, we have to make some decisions, right? And so if we are, we're so shaken up and we really can't think, we're so confused about so many things because, of course, it's a lot going on. So us trying to make sure that we can at least take care of our basic needs. That's why I'm so glad that people came together, especially in the LA region, and they are helping people to take care of their basic needs. And then emotional stability. So when we actually practice self-care, we can get some type of control back, right? We can have some type of stability, at least for our inner selves, right? We cannot control what's happening around us or what's going on, but we can control us and what we are managing and how we're managing it, right? So that's important. And then during crisis, your support system is so important. And sometimes people have a difficult time reaching out to people, but this is the time where you should let people know what you need, right? Because your support system wants to support you. And so make sure that you don't, take all of your different things that you may be feeling and isolate yourself. This is a time where we need to be in community. And so making sure that you are letting people know what you need, but then for the people who are being the support, you're constantly reaching out. And sometimes they don't know what they want. The person doesn't know what they want or need, but sometimes just your presence, just them knowing that you care, that you're there is a sense of security for them. So let's make sure that we are wrapping our arms around our support system so we can help them, especially during crisis times. Okay. So just some strategies. I think we take breath for granted, right? And I say that to say that it's so many things that we can really do and heal by deep breathing, by literally noticing our breath, taking a time to just slow down for a second and have some deep breaths, because it actually helps to calm our nervous system, right? Immediately kind of reduces our anxiety. And so let's not take deep breathing for granted. And so I actually always usually start with a deep breath. So we'll take a quick pause, right? And wherever you are, if you're sitting down, make sure that your feet is on the ground, right? Make sure that you are sitting upright in your chair. And let's just pause for a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And when you go in, you just breathe in, count to 4, hold it for 4, and breathe out. Let's try that 2 more times. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out. One more, breathe in, hold, and then breathe out. Notice how much calmer you may feel, especially if you were really doing it. And so make sure that you can really incorporate that throughout your day, especially if you're having overwhelming days. Okay, let's make sure we're incorporating that. It even help to ease my brain some. So I'm glad we were able to stop there. Then mindful meditation, you know, allows us to really focus on the here and now, the present. And help us to stop overthinking so much, right? It also can help manage some intrusive thoughts. So, get you a good app. The Calm app is a great app that you can help with some mindfulness, but make sure that you are really incorporating mindfulness throughout your day. And then exercise, regularly exercising. It can be a walk, a quick walk. It can be, some quick jumping jacks, something. Exercising helps to release endorphins, which improves your mood and it reduces your stress hormones. And so let's make sure that we are incorporating some type of movement in our day, especially if you're like me and you work at the computer all day. Have your breaks in between, okay? And then journaling. Let's utilize journaling about your thoughts, how you're feeling, how you're processing, how you're managing. It really helps to reduce our anxiety. All right. Let me know if you have, if you do any of these, and if you have any other strategies. I just named a few, but what are some of your other go-to strategies for reducing stress? Let me see that in the comments. I'll give you guys a second. I'll give you a second to put that in the comment section. I want to see, what are you already doing to manage your stress, if anything? What are we doing to manage our stress? Let's see. And I'm about to, hold on one second. All right. So while you guys are thinking, I'm going to keep moving, but making sure that you are incorporating different strategies for yourself, right? Because everything doesn't work for everyone. So pick the one that works for you. Building resilience. Resilience is so important, especially when we are dealing with different tragedies and dealing with different crises, and we're trying to like get back into that groove. And so I just wanted to kind of highlight some things here. Thank you. Angela put connecting with supports for her strategies. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's so important, to ensure that we are staying connected to help manage our stress. Thank you for that, Angela. And so some things that we need to be aware of as we try to make sure that we are more resilient. Self-awareness and mindset. How are we thinking about things? Do you have that glass half full or glass half empty thought process or mindset about things? And so us trying to really establish a more optimistic mindset helps us to be more resilient. And then problem solving, making sure that we're just not focused on the problem all the time, right? It's like, okay, what do I need right now? What do I need to help me solve what I'm managing? And then, just like Angela said, connecting with supports, connecting with others, and having a sense of purpose, right? And meaning. And so, this says that building resilience requires a combination of internal awareness, practical skills, and external support systems. So just like we said, we need it all. We need all the things to make sure that we can just be more resilient and get back to some type of normalcy, especially after a crisis. And so then we want to make sure that we are reaching out for mental health resources and support. And I just have a few ways where you can do that. Contact your primary care physician for referral, reach out to local mental health organizations, support groups, and utilize different platforms and websites. So, psychologytoday.com is a great resource to find a therapist, and other resources like if you need a testing or an assessment. All types of mental health professionals are there. So psychologytoday.com, therapy for Black girls, if you're in that community, that's another resource. And then each actual state, if you just look up, therapists in this area, you should be able to find a list. Let's make sure we're utilizing all of the resources. If you work at a company, more than likely you have an EAP, employee employee assistance program. You can connect with them. You usually have between like 6 to 12 free sessions. And so make sure you are utilizing that, especially during crisis time. So definitely want to make sure that you all know kind of where to go. And please feel free to reach out to me if you need or have any questions just around what you should look for, or the questions you should ask as you are trying to find your therapist. So, just in conclusion, us really prioritizing our mental health in times of crisis is so essential for us, right? And I want us to just provide us just some psychoeducation around, the impact, some of the strategies that you can do to help you fully understand why is it important, and why should we really be focused on our mental health and wellness. And so, just make sure you are implementing those self-care strategies, making sure that you are building up your resilience, and making sure that you are accessing resources, right? Making sure you're accessing resources because trauma really affects us in a lot of different ways. And so, do not suffer in silence. Get the support that you need. And thank you. Angela put something that says if you have an EAP, let me highlight this. If you have an EAP, check if they're private or state funded because the service may vary. Yes. So make sure that you really, check into your benefits. Reach out to your HR director, right? Or the HR team. Get more information about those EAP benefits. Let me know if you have any other thoughts about any other strategies as it relates to in the workplace, where they can go. But you have a lot of different benefits at your job, so make sure you actually are utilizing them, especially when we're dealing with crisis situations. So that is the end of that section. I just wanted to make sure that we can at least provide some psychoeducation. Please feel free to grab our information, follow us on Instagram. But I have a QR code here. So it's really to let us know how you felt about, that presentation in specific, but let us know about what other types of supports you would like us to provide on LinkedIn Live for this year. We're really trying to show up and just support our community even better. We do a lot of different services for our clients, but we really want to also provide some community support. And so if you can just, fill out, it's only a few questions, and we would really appreciate that. And then if you, just need extra support at your company, reach out. Let us know how we can support you. We'll definitely be happy to do that. And so now I really want to, I'll leave that up for a second, but I really want to just be able to, hear from some of you and, what are some of the things that you're managing? What are you struggling with? how has these different incidents, how have the different incidents literally impacted you, right? Whether you're directly connected or you are seeing it secondhand. And so, what I also want us to know is that although we are not directly involved, let's say we don't live in LA. However, we're seeing it on the news, we are seeing it in our socials, right? So it is impacting us just as much. That, we call that secondary traumatic stress. And so that is when you may not be directly involved, but it still impacts you because you have witnessed it secondhand. And it's just as impactful. And so I don't want you all to think that, oh my gosh, why am I having so many, emotions over this when I'm not even, there? It's a real thing. We can really be impacted. Thank you. And you guys are welcome. I'm just going to highlight a couple. Angela says, thank you. You are welcome. We're seeing so many natural disasters. It's scary to think about. Yes. I found a lot of us, unless directly involved, try to ignore it because of the stress. Yes. That's such a good point. It's such a good point that sometimes the way for us to manage things is to really kind of put it out of our mind, right? We disassociate with it. We avoid it because it's so hard for us to manage, right? Like you said, it causes so much stress on us, on our minds, on our bodies. And so sometimes we do that. And that could be a coping strategy. However, I don't want us to kind of put it out of our avoidance, put it out of our mind and avoid it to the point where we also are not empathetic about what's going on around us, right? And we are not really helping out our community because we are choosing to just like avoid all these things because it's so stressful to think about. However, it is a coping strategy. Sometimes it is very difficult. It's a lot. But, how are you taking care of yourself? What are some of the things that you're doing? Like, some of the strategies that we discuss. That is important, right? That is very important. And so, and I'm just going to change my view here. And so, I want us to understand that. So, yes, thank you for bringing that up. Sometimes we do avoid it if we're not directly connected. And it is a coping strategy. And so, you do what's best for you. That's what I would say. I would say do what's best for you and your own mental health. So thank you so much for that. And let me know what are some other things that are coming up for you all as you are managing this. And so one thing I know, I just got a call, the other day from someone who is dealing with like a lot of death around them. And so now they are having so much anxiety about their own mortality, because it's like so, up in their face. It's like, oh my gosh, basically like, we know that we all are going to, right, pass away. The only thing that we know for certain is people actually are born and people die. And so now a lot of people may be having a lot of anxiety about your own mortality. Like, oh my gosh, like, is something going to happen to me soon? And so what I want to really say to anyone that may be experiencing that is control what you can control. We cannot put all of our fears and anxieties about things, the unknown, because it's going to drive us insane. Right? And so we have to be able to say, what's our locus of control? And then what can I do today? That is why we should live every day to the best of our abilities and with no regret. So if it's something that you have on your heart that you want to do it. If it's a trip that you've been wanting to go on, go. If it's, something that you've been wanting to learn it. We are seeing that and we've been seeing, but it's really being put in our face that our lives can change in an instant. And so we need to make sure, we only have one life. Live it to the best of your ability. And don't don't really hark on things that don't bring you the joy and the peace that you want. Right? We have control over that. So that means if it's people, that cause you strife, do away with them. It doesn't matter if they're family. Sometimes you have to put them in their own kind of corner, let them stay there, and you kind of have a relationship with them at arm's length, because that's what's important for your own mental health. And you have to be okay with that. Right? If it's things, whatever it is, make sure you are doing what is important for you, what you need, especially during these times. Okay. So anything else coming up for you all as we are really processing through all of these different disasters and incidents traumatic incidents that we are having here in the U.S. inside of this community? Please drop them in the comments. But it's just a lot, right? We're all managing a lot. We're dealing with a lot. And so I encourage you all to definitely just make sure that you are doing what works for you. You are prioritizing your mental health and wellness, however that looks. And, you're just living every day with no regrets. That's what I would encourage, because life is short, right? And there's so many things that could happen. And so let's make sure that we are, Angela, we got you, Angela. Let's make sure that we are planning, right? And so I'm going to highlight Angela's point. She says, can you do a session about the presidential administration and the anxiety? Angela, we got you. Stay tuned. We actually have a session coming up. We may be doing it next week or the week right after. And we're going to be focused on building resilience in the face of uncertainty, right? It's a lot of emotions around this new administration, whether you have good emotions or not so good emotions. We have a lot of emotions. And so we really want to support everyone in how do we stay resilient during these unknown times. And so we are going to be having a session on that. I'm going to actually have two of my other therapists join me for that. And we'll be doing it similar to this. We'll have a brief presentation style for some psychoeducation, and then we'll have time for you to just really share how you are feeling and what's coming up for you. So yes, we'll definitely have that. Thank you for that. And then let me know what other types of sessions that you all want, what other support that you need. Like, what are we managing right now where we feel like we just need a space? We just need a space to talk about this and not feel judged, right? And that's the spaces that we want to create for you all. So we'll get ready to wrap it up. I'm going to just give a few seconds to anyone else who may want to share in the comments around just something that you may be struggling with, emotions that's coming up for you, or if you have any questions about how to manage something or how to deal with something, let me know in the comments. Definitely let me know in the comments, and I'm going to give it a couple seconds here. And I'm just trying to see if I see any additional. Comments. And if I miss any, because there may be some that's not coming because of the way I'm streaming, I will definitely go back and I'll answer your question on LinkedIn. So I'll actually write your an answer to your question. on LinkedIn. Perfect. Yes, let's definitely connect, Angela. Please send me a connection request if we're not connected already. But let's connect, and let me see how I can support you and your organization if need be. But thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this space. I hope this was helpful for you. Please, like I said, stay connected with me if we're not already connected. Send me a connection request. Please send me any thoughts, any struggles that you're having. If I can support you in any way, I will, or I can send you to a good resource where you can be supported. And like I said, we're going to be doing multiple LinkedIn lives this year where we are just really providing space for you and we're educating you. We want to really be, provide some resources for the community and make sure that people are prioritizing their mental health and wellness, especially during 2025. So let's definitely commit to that. If you have not already, I do have a self-care workbook that is on Amazon. So you can go and search The Refreshing Smile. It's a transformative self-care workbook. And in that workbook, I really go through all 8 dimensions of self-care, educate you on those dimensions, allow you to have a reflection on how you're actually doing. And it helps you to create your self-care plan in each dimension. So if you haven't picked that up yet, go ahead to Amazon and pick that up. It has been very helpful. I'm so appreciative of everyone who have received it so far and have been sending me messages and text messages and emails about how it's been helpful for you. So definitely thank you. I'm so glad it's a help for you guys. But our goal is to really help the person, right? Because we are human and we are managing a lot. And so we want to be able to be a help to you. So thank you all. If you want to reach out to me, please send me a message on LinkedIn. If you are on another platform, you can email us info@smiletherapyservices.com. And we will be sure to reach back out to you, and answer any questions that you may have. So thank you. Please have a great weekend. Be safe and do something that's going to improve your mental health this weekend. So until next time, I will see you all later.